Hey guys, here's my 4.9 homework help video. I was asked to do 4, 12, 13, and 14. Here is number 4. The first thing you're going to do with polynomial inequalities is find the zeros. And in order to find the zeros, you need to factor. Since there are 1, 2, 3 terms on this polynomial, I need to put it into two parentheses like this. And I want the two numbers that multiply to -15 and add to -2. So if they multiply to -15, one of them has to be negative. So here are my options. 1 and 15, 3 and 5. Those are the only numbers that multiply to 15. So either the negative is on the 1 or the 15, the 3 or the 5. I'm going to go through and pick the one that adds up to -2 because that's my number in the middle. This one's close, but it's 2. I actually want it to be -2. So I want the 3 to be the positive and the 5 to be the negative. Then you want to figure out what makes each parentheses 0. So for this one, that's going to be -3, because -3 plus 3 is 0. And 5 minus 5 is 0. So my two zeros that are going to go on my number line are -3 and 5. Okay, and then I've got the y-axis kind of like down the middle. And these are going to be open circles because the symbol doesn't have the little equals to line underneath it like that. Okay. Then to decide what happens on the very right side, look in front of x squared. That's not a negative number, or there is no negative, so the right side is going to go up. And then it just goes through both zeros because neither of them are doubles. Then you have to pay attention to which direction this is facing. Since this symbol is facing to the left, that means less than. And less than 0 means below the x-axis. So this part in the middle. That goes from -3 to 5. And then I'm going to use parentheses because I have open circles. I would use brackets if I had closed circles. Pause the video here if you need to write any of that down, because I'm going to erase it and do number 12. All right, so here is number 12. We get it written down. X cubed plus 5x squared minus 3x minus 15. Okay, so there are 1, 2, 3, 4 things on this one. So I'm going to group these two together. I can take an x squared out of both of those. By take out, I mean divide. So x cubed divided by x squared is x. 5x squared divided by x squared is just 5. And then I'm going to do the same thing, but with these two. And I can divide 3 and 15 by 3. But you don't want the first thing in the parentheses to be negative, so I need to take out a -3. And then you see how these two match? That's one of your parentheses. You take it out front, basically. And if you take that away, all you have left is the x squared and the -3. So those are your factors. Then you need to find the zeros from here. It's always going to be the opposite. So this one's going to be -5. And this one is going to be x squared equals 3. So I have to do the square root on both sides. And whenever you do the square root on both sides, you need to add the plus and minus. Then I'm going to draw myself a graph and make sure you guys can actually see it. I'm going to put -5, negative square root of 3, the y-axis, and the square root of 3. So it doesn't matter that you can't actually but you don't actually know exactly what the square root of 3 is. And then I'm going to put open circles because there's no equals to underneath this. And then the right side's going to go up because there was a positive x cubed in front. And it's going to go straight through all of these zeros. Since this is less than 0, I want the parts that go underneath, which is over here and here. And I'm going to have to erase part of my work. Actually, I'll just write it over here. So this part goes to the left forever, but it stops at -5. So that's negative infinity to -5. Then it starts up again at negative square root of 3 and goes to the square root of 3. And that is number 12. Pause the video if you need to write it down because I'm going to erase it so I can do numbers 13 and 14. All right, number 13 is coming up next. And I think I might know why this one was asked. It's been asked a couple of times by several other people. So if you got kind of confuzzled by this one too, you are not alone. So there is this -2 sitting in the front. All that means, or all that does, is say that the right side is going to go down. It's not a 0, it's just telling you the right side goes down. This one is going to be a 0 at 3, and that's going to be a double, so it's going to bounce. This one is going to be at -1, and this one's going to be at 4. Since this one's already factored for us, it's a little bit easier. I need to put open circles because there's no equals to at -1, 3, and 4. And then the right side is going to go down this time because of that -2 in front that I said over here. And then it's going to go straight through this one. But when it gets to the 3, because it's a double, it's going to bounce. So when it gets down there, it's going to go right back up, but then it'll cross through the last one. Since this one is also less than 0, you want the parts that go below, which are right there. This interval over here is from negative infinity to -1. And this one over here is from 4 to infinity. And I didn't do this on the last one, but technically you're supposed to put a U in between. I don't count off for things like that though, because they're kind of nitpicky. All right, pause the video if you need to write this one down because I'm going to erase it for number 14. Last final one. Finally, we have one that's not less than 0 this time. Okay, so this is the original problem. This one has a 0 at 7. This one has a 0 at -3. And because it's squared, it is a double. So I'm going to draw my graph. This one is also not equals to. There's no little line underneath the inequality symbol. So you're going to draw open circles at -3 and 7. And then the right side, because there's no negative right here in front, is going to go up. It's going to go all the way through. And then when it gets to the -3, it's going to bounce and go back down. This one would like the parts that are above because this is greater than. So that's only this section right here. And that goes from 7 to infinity. Feel free to let me know if you need more help with other problems.